We've got a 1954 Seaboard 6250 Lionel switcher engine. And we're going to see what's wrong with it. If it runs, we're going to do some cleanup on it. We're missing a smokestack right here. These are replaceable. Later on, we're going to show you how to replace that. We're going to start by taking the body off. Now, on this style, there's a 1/4 turn screw at each end. Body comes off very easily. Turn that one. We'll turn this one, and the body will lift off. There's the body. Now, just a couple notes. I know this is a 54 because where it says Seaboard here is a decal. And they only did that in 54. Later on, they rubber stamped them. And there's two different styles of rubber stamping, but single motored engine, or a single motored unit with the E unit. There are no horns. It's quite dirty. And there are 2 lights in this. First thing we're going to do is hook it up and see if we get any response from the engine. And I hook my power to the E unit where it comes from these contactors, so we're not having to reach underneath. And we turn it up. The lights both come on. We get a nice hum. And I think the E unit is locked in the wrong direction. There we go. Nope, it was not. It was on. Okay, we don't get any response from the motor. I hear the E unit clicking. I should be able to show you.
Too high.
Yes.
You gotta come down, there you go.
You can see it moving the E unit drum right there. Turn it off, on, off, on. And I see it's very dirty. We're going to start by cleaning the E unit. Unwire myself. The E unit has 1 screw. It's hard to see down in the wires. The screw is right down in the frame, right there. We will unthread it. Take the screw out so we don't lose it. And we have an E unit that we can actually visually see. But the drum is very dark, and we're going to reach in there and clean it. It does look like the fingers are all working, making contact. I have my Dremel, and we're very gently going to reach in here and polish the copper up. You'll have to take and walk the E unit drum around step by step. Okay, we're going to do the other side. You want to be very gentle doing this because that is the green part that you're looking at is plastic and it will heat up and melt. Okay. The other thing we're going to do is manually rotate the E-unit drum through its cycles and look at these teeth right here. Make sure they're all on there because these are notorious for stripping a tooth. And it all looks like it's moving fine. Now I'm going to take a Q-tip and a little alcohol. Okay. We're going to gently wipe this off to remove any other crud that's on that drum. We'll take and dry it off. But now you can actually see the contacts. Before they were very dark and not very visible. Now we're going to hook power back up. And you use this solder connection right here where the power wire solders on. And the case will be our ground. And I'm not making connection. Well. Got ground. Oh, you have to have the lever touching the contact. Right here and here. There. Now if you look past that lever, we seem to be sticking. Now this is somewhat debatable, but I put a small drop of oil on the actual plunger. And while we're here, we'll put a small drop of oil on each side of the E-unit drum. You really don't want any oil getting on the contacts. We'll take and wipe that off a little bit. Because then it just makes that yucky mess that we just cleaned off. Okay, we seem to be a bit sticky on the E-unit. I'm going to put a drop of oil on the plunger pins on the side. It's rotating the drum, it just likes to stick. All right, we're going to put the E unit back and see if we can test to see if this works. And I twist it around in a circle there. Okay. Okay, E unit's back on and tight. Now I'm going to use this as my grounding point. There it fell. We're not getting any response from the motor. So we're going to take our multimeter and I'm going to put it on AC voltage. Power on. $15 volts. So we're getting voltage to the E unit. I'm getting voltage to the coil. We don't seem to be getting any power to the brushes. So we have an electrical problem. And you can't lift the motor up from the top because this light bracket is riveted to the frame. So we're going to have to take the motor out from the bottom. Now, on the truck, there is one screw right in the middle. This screw goes directly to the motor. We'll take that screw out. Now the truck has a power wire hooked to it, so it doesn't want to come out all the way. And we got an issue. Oh. Now, to come out from the bottom, there's a bracket in the way. Well, this bracket is held on. Should be with two screws. This screw is missing. This screw is in the place. Left it out. Okay. Now, we're going to clean this motor anyway, but I think I see my problem. The yellow wire, which contacts the brush holder here, is not making contact. It is broken loose. We're going to have to solder that back on. But before we do, we're going to take this motor apart and clean it since we're down this far. There are 2 screws on the brush holder cap. We'll take those both loose.
So if you wanted to, you could just go ahead and solder that yellow wire back and see if it ran.
You could, yes.
But we could also then have to take this apart anyway and clean it. So we might as well clean it and have
You
it.
might as well clean it now.
Yeah.
We're going to make it work one way or another. So, all right. Now, the brush cap is held on to the coil winding, so you can only take it so far.
So the little piece that just popped out, was that a brush?
That is a brush. There is one.
The other one looked like it was pretty worn, was it? No.
No,
No, it wasn't bad.
they're at least 3/4. So there's the
Yeah.
brushes. They look in good shape.
Yeah.
So the armature is a little dirty, but not bad. Now, we're going to take this armature out. There's an E-clip on the shaft. And we'll get a little better look at the E-clip once I get it off. There is the E-clip that holds everything together to hold that armature in. Now, below the E-clip, you have a washer, lots of dirt, and you have a ball bearing. There's the ball bearing. There's the washer, which is its race for that bearing to run on. We need to clean this. That's why I want to take this apart, because I have nasty, dirty grease that is just crumbling. Now, we can lift this out. Okay. Gently. There's another flat washer, and this should be your set. So you'll have 2 flat washers and the bearing on each side. The flat washers go together with the bearing. That's what they ride on. These need cleaned. I can feel them. They're very gritty feeling. Lots of dried grease. Same way on the other end of on the other side of the armature here. You'll have a washer, a bearing, and another washer. There's our armature, and here's our bearings, and lay them over. Give me a paper towel. Now, this has got a lot of old grease on it. I'm going to clean this off with, I use isopropyl alcohol, 70%. It really cuts the grease. You can see the dirt coming off. And that doesn't look like a lot, but to that little bearing, that's a lot. We're going to use that same thing to wipe off the top of the commutator where the brushes ride. We'll dry that off. There we go. Now we have the motor case here. Our windings look fine. We're going to take a Q-tip, run through that, and it comes out fairly clean, which is good. We can see we got a nasty wad of grease there. Okay, back to our armature. I need to clean the bearing races or washers off, wipe them off to get the grease off of them. And the bearing. I'll just wipe him off. The other bearing. The other. Okay. We have all our parts wiped off. I'm going to install one washer. I don't need to install any extra dirt on it. We're going to put a small drop of oil on there. I'm going to add a bearing. Roll it around a little bit. I'm going to put a drop of oil on each of the 5 balls there, just to, and then we add the other washer. Roll it around a little bit. And one more drop of oil down through it. Make sure it gets a good coating of oil. Now we're going to put a little oil in the motor case. And I'm going to use a little lubriplate grease, white grease, and I will apply it with my screwdriver. We get a nice little blob in there. Okay. Again, we'll put the little bearing race / washer on there. A little bit of oil on that. The bearing. And there he goes. And we'll put a little bit of more oil on there. And the last bearing race. All right. And then we're going to put our E-clip. There is a slot for it. There it is. in the slot. We're just going to take the screwdriver, and he's back in the slot. And he's holding that on there. This does spin very free now. Now we're going to put a small drop of oil on the armature shaft. Now we're going to reinstall the brushes. There's a slot in one end and you want the slot to hit this little spring. But when we're doing this, the trick is not to hit that slot. We'll push this up. You actually want to push the brush up too far, like that. And you lay the brush spring next to it so it holds the brush up. Use the screwdriver to push the brush up a little higher, and it's laying beside the, that way you're not fighting the brushes trying to put them in.
Makes sense.
They're just held there. We're going to wipe the commutator off. Make sure he's good and clean. Okay. Reassemble brush holder back on there, and 2 screws. Now, the motor's back assembled. We can take the brushes, push them down, the brush holder spring snaps on them. And the motor's assembled. Now, we're going to solder this yellow wire back onto the brush holder. Blue wire here, green wire to the commutator coil. But the yellow wire goes here. Warm up my solder gun. A little solder. Got the wire to 10 a little bit. Like we need a little more solder. Okay, now we got a drop of solder there. Should be able to solder this. Okay, we've got the yellow wire soldered back to the brush holder.
Now I noticed you didn't have a whole lot of wire sticking out of that yellow wire.
There's not much. I didn't want to shorten it any.
Because there's not a whole lot of wire there to begin with.
I could replace the wire or I could extend it, but we're going to hook up power and ground again. And I don't think because the promoter's not grounded. All right.
So we need to put it together a little bit more to find out how it's doing.
Yes. Okay, and there's a wire here on the truck that is broken off. The coupler's missing on the back. This was a wire wound coupler. And that is what that went to. So we're going to have to just take this loose for now, because it's kind of in the way. But this would go to the coupler, which is missing. So when we get a coupler, we'll hook that back up. I was studying that. And you stole my screw. Okay. And we took that off. You can, if you take the side plate off, you can see all the gears. Now this one does move pretty well. We're going to try to slip behind the gear. You can see where I raised it up. Put a drop of oil on the shaft down in the gear. Get behind them, it's best, because that way you get oil all the way to the base of that shaft. We're going to oil the axle points alongside the wheel. Okay. Now we're going to put the side cover back on. I've got the screw in my hand. We'll tighten up both sides. There we go. Okay. And while we're here, I'm going to take a little bit of my lubricate grease, a little dab, and I'm going to just gently touch it to the gears to let the gears pull it through where they want it. And as you can see, it gets all the way out to the outer gear on the wheel. Now, we're going to take the geared shaft and I take my lubricate grease and put on there. You have the motor mount plate. And we only have one screw. I'll have to get one of those. Okay. We'll reattach our truck. Okay. And we have our wire, which we will wind up out of the way here for now.
I hear it humming now.
There we get a humming, but
So that means we have power to it, but it's still not. Ah.
and we have a sticking unit. And
So once it's going and it gets that grease you put in there and stuff moving around, could that just
You
work
can-
itself out? Or do you see it?
oh, we'll probably have to take the unit apart.
Okay.
But we proved that the engine will run.
Yep. That may be another video.
And there will be definitely need to be some E-unit repair. But we have proved that this engine will run. And we will have to do a coupler repair. And we'll have to do some E-unit repair. Neutral. And there's reverse. I'm definitely going to have to do a little E-unit repair because I hear it.
Is that clicking sound?
Yes.
All right.
There's neutral again. The unit appears to be working now. And there's forward.
So could it just work itself out?
It could work itself out. But I think I need to probably take it apart.
So you'll go ahead and take it apart and clean it so that you don't have future issues.
That would probably be the wisest
It
choice.
might go ahead and work. Makes sense just to go ahead and avoid.
Yes, we have a dirty unit, but we also have a running motor, so that was our goal, was to see if this was savable.
Yep.
And we will have to install the coupler.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We're going to go ahead and stop our video here. And we will be making a couple more videos to go along with this one. They'll be, when they go up, they'll be labeled the same. It'll just say video 2 and video 3. And it'll show the new repair. So, anything else you wanted to add, Kevin?
I think that's it for now. We'll have one on doing the body, cleaning it up, and replacing the smokestacks. We'll have some E-unit repair and a coupler replacement.
Don't forget to subscribe to Iron Spike and watch for more videos.